What is going on YouTube? Jamie Potter here, PhD in Organizational Behavior from the Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania. Today I am talking about quite an interesting and relevant topic in the literature, and that is, why do people work so darn hard at their jobs? And what this study actually looks into specifically is, why are there some people that work more than 60 hours a week when the average is about 38 to 42 hours a week? Why is it that some people are working 60, 70, 80 hours a week? And if you actually start thinking about it yourself, you can think of kind of a number of different reasons this might be. And what this study does is it actually interviews about 470 men, all married, all with kids at home. So kind of a homogeneous sample to really test these competing theories about why people work so many hours. And it pits them against each other to see which one really explains things. And so these four theories from the paper are, first is just work-leisure trade-off. One logical reason that people work harder is they get paid a ton of money to do so, and when they get paid a ton of money, the opportunity cost of not being at work, in other words, of being home, is much higher, so they tend to work more hours the more that they're paid. Another one is just social contagion. Over time, some people in certain companies and industries start to work a little more, so that puts pressure on you to work a little more. I think the example in the paper is maybe a manager institutes a Saturday morning meeting, and then all of a sudden everybody has to be there, and then Saturday morning it becomes the norm to work for a few hours. Hopefully that's not the case for a lot of companies, but it does happen in some, especially in professional services or client-facing companies. The third potential theory for why people work more than 60 hours a week is a relief from difficulties at home. Kind of a tough one, but certainly could be a possible explanation. When people have a choice between home and work, and one of those areas is very tough for whatever reason, they might stay in the other one much longer. So some people might work that hard just because it's better than being home. And the fourth one is just people enjoy work. If you happen to be in a job where you just love it, you're engaged by what you do, you love your coworkers, you're more likely to stay for longer. It makes me think of actually the president of UFC, the Ultimate Fighting Championship, which I'm quite a fan of, Dana White. Loves what he does so much, loves managing and overseeing the UFC, that he says he hates 3-day weekends because he just can't wait until it's Monday. All weekend he's counting down the days until he can be back at work and getting things done, which I think is really cool and admirable, and something I certainly seek out, and I think hopefully everybody seeks out in a job. I mean, you don't want to be working all the time, you don't want to enjoy it so much that that's all you do and you sacrifice other areas of your life. But isn't that great if you just love a job so much that you can't wait until Monday morning comes, you're excited on Sunday night? I think that's really enviable. And so, as I mentioned in this paper, they actually pit these theories against each other. They do a large-scale survey of college and MBA grads from a single school, all married men with kids, again, to make a homogeneous sample. Notably, they do a smaller female sample, but it's kind of exploratory, so I'm not going to dig into that as much. And from this large-scale survey, which theory of why people work so hard is supported?
Until the magician produces a rabbit from a hat, like that.
Without further ado, it is kind of surprising here, to me at least, when I was rereading. I was trying to predict which one would get the most support. The one that got the most support is people just love work. The majority explanation for why people, at least in this sample of about 470 men, why they worked so hard was they were just really engaged with their work. It wasn't because they were having difficulties at home or they're getting paid so much that it didn't make sense to leave work. It just made sense to work more hours. It wasn't because of social contagion, although there is some support for social contagion among the small female sample of why women work so hard at times, especially in industries like I said, professional services, client-facing, financial services. there is a sort of pressure and social contagion that ends up ramping up hours over time. But in this male sample, the primary reason is some people just love what they do and they want to stay at work longer, and they end up working kind of 60 hours or more per week, which I think is really fascinating, really encouraging. And again, for me, something I always aim for. You know, I love to love work. I want to love work, and if I love it so much that I want to stay for 60 hours a week, to me that is a win. That's what I seek out. So I found this paper really cool to reread here, kind of broad, large-scale survey that's answering a pretty interesting question to me. So I hope it's interesting to you. Feel free to subscribe to my channel, like my other videos, comment below. I hope you enjoyed the new microphone. I hope it is easier to hear me and less echoey now. And until next time, I will see you next week. Bye.